What is up, everybody? It is so good to be back. It's Monday night, and you know what that means? Another episode of the Stereo Joe Show, episode 68 to be exact. And this one is a real special one. We have Joseph Wooten of the Steve Miller Band coming on the show tonight. He's actually also in a couple other groups. He's also in the Wooten Brothers, and he's also in Joseph Wooten and the Hands of Soul. He's an author, a composer, an arranger. He's even had a TED Talk. I am so excited to be getting on. He's going to be on a little bit later in the episode, but we have a killer rest of our guests. Coming up first, we have Brian Wagner, who is a singer-songwriter. Great guy. Got to meet him before the show. He's going to be on doing a little performance for us, so can't wait to check him out. We are also having Roberto Santoro come on. He is a bass player who put out his own solo album, and he actually started another cover band called Boogie Boys, and they're pretty cool. So we're going to be talking to him about that. And then, back by popular demand, we have the one and only Henry Invisible. He's going to actually be starting off the show with some killer funk. You know him. He always gets everyone dancing. But he's also here to talk to us tonight and tell us a little bit what's going on with his new music he has coming out, some of his old music that he's had on. So he's going to be awesome. Really funny character. And then, of course, the main event, Joseph Wooten is going to be on the show. I just talked to him. It's such an honor, such a privilege. So we are really excited, folks. All right, let's get to it, and let's get the man of the hour right now, Henry Invisible. What is up?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I can't wait. I am so excited to have you here. I got my dancing shoes on. I'm getting out of here, and I'm letting you take over, brother.
All right. Thanks for having me back on the show. I do appreciate it. And everybody out there, everywhere, watching anywhere. Yes. My name is Henry Invisible. We're going to get it going, y'all. Yeah. This song's called My Love Is For You. Buddy, put the love out there too. All right.
I said my love is for you. Oh, yeah, all right.
We gotta throw some bass in there. Yeah.
Every time I see you coming my way, I lose my mind, woman. No matter which way I'm going, I try to figure out some words to say, so that you know just where I'm coming from. That's the way it's a little bit crazy, cause I could not get all my thoughts to please. And then I thought it might be a little bit better if I just get my message simple and sweet. and tell you my love is for you. My love is for you. It's so much better just knowing that you're in the way. You're running around, I'm spinning around the universe with me, Lord. Everything I wanna know. Somewhere else out there, I wanna be. Yeah, I said my love, say my love, love. Say my love, my love, it is for you. My love, it is for you. You and 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 you I just want to say I want to love it. I just want to say I got to love it. Yeah. Ever would love love and soul.
Hey, I don't hear you.
Oh no, I was on mute the whole time. All right, I'm back, baby. Nick, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All
Yes.
right, awesome. All right, you were looking like you were like, I still can't hear him. Guys, that was Henry Invisible. He is amazing. He is going to be back in just a little bit. We got him coming back at 8:45 to talk a little bit, and then after Joseph is on, he's going to be performing. Nick, I gotta bring our Remy friend in the house. Rem, where are
Wouldn't be
you?
a show without her.
I know she's backstage. I don't know what she's doing. I think she's doing a line of blow. I could be mistaken. Just kidding. She's really doing a shot for me, or I don't know. I think it's actually I don't know what she's doing. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, so what is up, dude? We got Joseph Wooten on the show tonight.
Man, I can't believe how we're getting all these guests on, both locally, internationally, regional, international bands like the Steve Miller Band. Wow.
I know how. It's because we have a star, a number one star. And here she is. Welcome to number one star to the show, Remy Gale.
Hey, guys.
Remy, what good fortune did you bring for us tonight? I know you brought, what did you make for dinner?
I did not make dinner tonight.
I'm out of here. Nick, tell Remy about that beard.
Remy,
Yes.
People ask me how the beard gets so nice, and I lie and I tell them that it's all you. But it's partly you, but it's also the beard struggle, because you don't have to struggle when you want to grow a nice beard and smell nice doing it too. They have brushes, balms, oils, really anything to help your beard look good, grow nicely, and smell nicely. And you could be thinking, I don't really have $1 million to spend on that. But you know us. So we have the hookup. Use Stereo JO, we'll give you 15% off.
When I grow my beard in, at least I can.
We also have it for ladies. There's ladies' products as well. I know. Nick said bombs. And I was just going to ask you that, Nick. When is the last time you said bomb in a normal conversation ever?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? My connection cut out.
BALMS, not bomb, as in bombs over Baghdad bombs.
Oh, no. The Facebook AI just flagged us. No, I said, when is the last time you used the word bomb, BALM, in a sentence, other than just this ad?
Never.
Never. All right, so we got about a minute left. Real quick, Nick, we got a bunch of great guests for tonight. I don't know how you did it. Of course, we just saw Henry Invisible, who's going to be back, but we also have bassist Roberto Santoro and singer-songwriter Brian Wagner. Bunch of great guys. Brian's going to be performing, and so is Henry, obviously. And
yes.
Rem, is Joseph thinking of performing?
I mean, I don't know right now because of his, Wi-Fi issues that he's having a bit. But he's going to hang, and he's got a lot of insightful, wonderful things to talk about.
Yeah, I'm excited. He's having a Wi-Fi connection, so we're really lucky to even have him on the show. We were a little nervous. We might have to cancel, but we've had to do that so many times. So we were like, no. I was literally gonna. I don't know what we were gonna do. I was gonna fly to Tennessee to make it happen. But anyway, all right. Yeah. Well, listen, I got our first guy, so I'm letting you two go. But I got to get to our first guest. But I love you. I'll see you later. All right. If you're just tuning in now, this is the Stereo Joe Show. We are a music talk show where we are bringing you artists from all over the country, even the world sometimes. Right now, we're going to be heading over to Brian. Let's check him out. Brian, welcome back. What's going on?
What's up, man? Good to see you again.
Hey, it was great to see you. I'm really excited to have you on the show. What a special day to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Burning Bush's birthday. Bob Dylan turned 80 today, so big news there. I actually just this morning got this guitar shipped to me. It's a Martin 0028 VS, and it was the guitar that Bob Dylan used to record Blood on the Tracks. Not the actual guitar, but same model. So it was some cool cosmic energy this morning when I realized that those were occurring on the same day.
Yeah, it arrived today on his birthday. That's pretty amazing.
It did, yeah, like 8:30 this morning. So
that's crazy. What are the odds? Oh, that's awesome.
I know. Yeah, it was really cool. It sounds great.
So real quick, tell us a little bit about your music and about your artistry.
Yeah, so I'm a singer-songwriter from upstate New York. A lot of my music is sort of rooted in American folk. Irish folk music is kind of what I came up on. I love, singer-songwriters of all kinds. My parents were deadheads, so I really identify with the folk music and American folk music. I lived in Dublin, Ireland for 2 years, so I really got to look at other genres of folk music, and some of the songs that I grew up adoring and loving, and here in the States, I realized were had roots deeper than just here. They were songs that were brought over from Ireland and England, and made their way through Appalachia, and eventually to me. And so it's fun. It's been really a pleasure writing songs and learning from musicians all over the world. And
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm assuming you got to perform over in Ireland a little bit. And what was that like?
yeah, it was great. It was funny. I went there sort of thinking that I knew what Irish music was, and you know, got an education and realized that the Dropkick Murphys and Flogging Molly isn't really Irish music by an Irish standard. And yeah, it's funny. And I did. I had the good fortune to learn great ballads and old folk songs from some great singers in Dublin, and I learned a lot. It was fun. I went there thinking that I didn't really know what I was gonna be doing music wise. I went there with a work exchange program after school, after college, and ended up staying longer than I expected, and ended up doing music full time. And that was sort of where I cut my teeth playing live gigs, was in Dublin. I'd only ever done open mic nights, and I think like one I opened up for a band from Nashville here in Syracuse, New York once. But my first real move into playing live music and doing live performance was in Dublin. So it was cool. It's a really musical city, country in general, but Dublin, like any respectable bar, has music 5 or 6 nights a week. So there's a lot of opportunity there. It's great.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
and now you've been back in the States and you performed here a bit now. So what is the difference between the audiences? Is there any difference? Like are they more like gung ho in Ireland about it, or do they
It's
clap
funny.
louder, or do they do like a weird snap thing? What do they do?
They yeah, there's a different energy there. It's Dublin's a big tourist city, so anywhere you go out, there's people from all over the world, and it's a more diverse mix of people, I think, than you get just in a bar. Syracuse is sort of a medium-sized city, but America has a great music scene, but a lot of it is sort of, I feel, sort of commercialized, and Ireland just has so many real like working artists, people that do music full time. And you get that here too, but there it's really ingrained in the culture. Hospitality industry in Ireland is huge. Pubs and bars are huge. I think there's like 800 or 900 bars in Dublin County. So
Wow.
there's just an insane amount of people doing it. And, you'd walk by like 10 musicians without knowing it on the street there. So it was really cool to just be around so many people in such a rich, like old culture, of live performance and music.
That is so cool. And we're about to get to some performances. We mentioned we might do 2 songs. One of them
Yeah, I'd like
is
to.
going to be an original. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. This first song is sort of a newer one actually that I wrote, and it's like many folk songs, it's not new and it was never old. It's just a folk song, so this is sort of my rendition of going down the road feeling bad. And some of the lyrics are just written about being stuck in place here during quarantine, and about getting ready to move out of this apartment I'm living in now. My buddy and I, we play in a crew here in upstate New York, and we're getting ready to hit the road in August, and go do some bar gigs around the country, and just hit the open road. So this song's sort of about that.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, listen, I'm going to get off screen and let's hear this song.
Okay.
I'll be
Great.
back.
Thanks, man. Cool. Cheers, all you watching out there. tank of gas into my car. 81 in southbound, headed down, down, down. Going down somewhere. Salt water curls my hair. Ain't gonna be seeing me again. I'll sell all of my things but keep this old guitar. Only thing in life hasn't let me down, down, down. Going down somewhere I can breathe clean air. Nobody ever said it would be fair. Sometimes I simply can't get out of my own head. Hard to rest and wake each day on lonesome in my bed. Gonna be awfully hard to make it. I've been sinning every day. Nobody's gonna be changing these old ways. I'll pack up all my clothes and check out of this room. The concierge is breaking down the door. It's noon. Guess I'm just ashamed in the way I spend my days. Hope you don't ever feel this way. Going down the road, feeling bad. Going down the road, feeling bad. I hate to say it, but I'm missing your sweet face. The way you said that you would never leave me, babe. Going down the road, feeling bad. Going down the road, feeling bad. I hate to say it, but I'm missing your sweet face. The way you said that you would never leave me, babe.
Hey Brian, that was awesome. Great job.
Thanks,
I think we can get you sounding a little bit better too, coming through from our side. If you can hit the settings at the bottom, the cam mic settings, and then you hit audio.
Yep.
If you want to turn off echo and turn on stereo.
Okay.
And then if you want to just give us a little test real quick before I jump out.
How does that sound? Does that sound a little better?
Oh, yeah. If you want to strum a little bit and then just give me like a quick line.
Okay, just do the same song there? Or the next song I'm doing here?
You can do a little bit from what you just did.
Okay. Going down the road, feeling bad. Going down the road, feeling bad.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, do I have time to do one more here?
Yeah, definitely do one more. Sorry, I saw I was on mute there. Sorry about that. Perfect.
Oh,
Thank
no worries.
you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, guys. All right, we're going to do another song here. This is an old Bob Dylan song off the Blood on the Tracks, 1975, I believe it was. This song's called Simple Twisted Fate. Sat together in the park as the evening sky grew dark. She looked at him and he felt a spark tingle into his bones. Then he felt alone and wished that he'd gone straight. Watched out for that simple twist of fate. Sat together by the old canal, little confused, I remember well. Walked off to a strange motel with the windows open wide. Felt the emptiness inside, to which he could not relate. Watching out for a simple twist of fate. Saxophone somewhere far off played as he was walking on by the arcade. As the light hit that beat up shade where he was waking up, she dropped a coin in the cup of a blind man at the gate. Forgot about his simple twist of fate. He woke up and the room was bare. Couldn't find her anywhere. Told himself that he did not care. Pushed the window open wide. Felt the heat of the night hit him like a freight train moving with her simple twist of fate. People tell me that it is a sin to live and feel too much within. I believe she was my kin, oh, but I lost the ring. She was born in the spring, and I was born too late. Blame it all on the simple twist of fate.
Wow, that was incredible, Brian. Great
Thanks,
job.
guys.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks so much for having me on. Sorry for the technical difficulties there with that first song.
No problem.
But yeah.
I did want to ask you though. You had mentioned that you were able to go to Ireland. Where somewhere that you would hope that your music could take you one day?
That's a great question. I always plan to go back to Ireland. I don't know about to live there, but I still go back and play gigs once in a while. But right now I've been working on original music, and recording our first debut album with the crew that I play with here, and we're looking to just see wherever it takes us, we'll go. Right now we're planning a bar tour, brewery tour, for the end of the summer, but realistically, something we have is like a sort of realistic goal in our mind is to, get picked up for a tour as a supporting act and, just sort of see where it goes from there. We're all, like hardworking musicians and just would love to make it work in the music industry. So, any opportunity we will definitely jump at.
That's awesome.
Well, I love it, and you are certainly very deserving of it. And I want to apologize. That was my technical problem, and I'm the one messed up. Brian has been A1, and dude, we're gonna have to get you back very soon to give you another shot because we ate up a minute or two doing that. So I want to get you on again real soon. But real quick, before we let you go, what's the number one song you want people to check out from you right now?
I've got an original video. It's a song called Winter Rain. And it's on my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'll shoot you guys the links and throw them in the comments here. It's one of the first original songs I released and put out there. So plenty more to come, and hopefully we can circle back and get back online here after this project is released, and chat again and pick up where we left off.
Absolutely. I love it. And definitely you were great. So really, thanks so much for coming on and everything. And you know what? Actually, our next guest isn't here yet. So you actually get another minute. So hang tight for a sec.
Okay, cool. No worries.
So I noticed that you post a lot on your profile about other musicians and places that you promote other businesses. Is there someone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh man, let's see. Let's see. All the local businesses around here in Syracuse, New York, and upstate New York have been so supportive of our music. We've got some really good buddies out at this up and coming brewery called Myers Creek. They're new. They really have some skin in the game here in the local music scene in Syracuse. They have been a huge proponent for local musicians and have been just throwing tons of people dates. I'm playing at a festival this summer. It's sort of a grassroots festival called A Lovely Time, and they actually reached out to us to help sponsor, whatever we need, and want to make, an effort to, get involved. So Myers Creek Brewing Company in Casanova, New York, you guys are the best. Keep on keeping on.
I have a couple questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a couple of minutes here.
Yeah.
What key is your harmonica in?
It's in C.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got a whole bag that follow me around, though. I'm
you have
harmonicas everywhere.
That's awesome. And you said you're in Syracuse or anywhere by Oswego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about 30 minutes from here.
Yeah, I have several people I know in Oswego. That's what I actually texted Jimmy. I was like, "Bring me on, bro. Bring me on."
Yeah. Upstate represent.
Well, I mean, yeah.
We're all gonna get up in the car and we're gonna come visit you, Brian. I feel bad, Rem. I gotta run. Nick, I gotta run on you. I love you guys. Brian, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you. I'm gonna have Nick get in touch with you, and we'll get you on real soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for the time. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, and we'll catch you later. Have a good one.
All right, cheers.
Bye. All right, guys, that was Brian Wagner. Great guy. Check him out. Definitely not going to be upset about that. You're going to love it. So go check him out right now. Follow him everywhere, please. All right, well, we got another guest coming up right now. He's a bass player extraordinaire. Just recorded his own album, and he's got a new up-and-coming band he wants to tell us about. Please welcome to the show, Rob. What's up, Rob?
Hey, Jimmy. How you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks. It was doing the stuttering in the beginning while I was waiting, then it cut out right at the end as we clicked over. I'm like, oh, perfect.
Oh, thank heavens, because before, we were like, oh, no, we were having technical issues, but it worked, so this is great.
Yeah, it even warned me. There's going to be some stuttering in the beginning, but it'll pass. I'm like, all right, I hope it passes in the next, 10 seconds.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just about to get on.
It worked out perfect. So how you doing, man?
Doing well, but just being crazy. I'm super pumped for tonight. We got a killer show, and you're one of the reasons why I'm excited. So
thanks,
what
man.
What have you been doing this past year with COVID? How's the music been going?
A lot of writing, a lot of in the studio, and just a lot of practicing and playing because no shows, any shows I had lined up were postponed till further notice, then getting canceled. It was just, it was a big hit to the Achilles heel with no shows. So that was a downer, but it helped with being able to all right, I'm just going to write and not think about playing live, just keep writing, keep recording, keep just working at that. Cause usually, it's all right, I want to have all this ready for a show, and you take the show part out of the equation. I'm just focusing on bettering myself basically, opposed to worrying about the next thing.
the shows get in the way because you're worried about inviting people, making the set list, practicing the songs. Is there a new song? You know, all the different components that go into that. So it takes away from the songwriting. It breaks your concentration.
Yeah,
You might have
like
to,
I'm fixated on this, and then I'm fixated on that, and I'm going back and forth. The only upside to it I saw, well, one of the few things was just worrying about, I'm just going to work on this.
Exactly. And it's been nice. So you actually put out a whole album of music.
Yeah, I put out my first single. Right now, the rest of it it's still in the studio. My buddy Joe Schneider, he did the guitar and the synth on it. My buddy Jeremy did the drums on it, and the drums and bass are done. My buddy Joe is recording the guitar and synth himself, and we're doing it out of Rock Hard Studios in Stroudsburg.
Oh, nice!
And he's doing all that stuff, and we're going to be working on that and working on another few projects together, just because he also has his own studio, and whenever he has songs that need bass, I come in, I work with him, I do the bass for him and stuff. So a lot of working together in the studio, which is another thing that COVID kind of brought in. It's like, all right, well, it's going to be a lot of studio time I'll be able to get in.
Absolutely. When I got my stimulus check, I was like, hello, studio, let's meet up.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, whenever Stimmies came, it was just car. my
bills.
Jeep somehow knew, like, oh, you got a check. Well, I need tires.
Yeah, like, by the way, I think you need some maintenance.
Yeah, every time the checks came in. But overall, though, it's other than the lack of shows, it's just been creating and working on stuff and writing.
Yeah, that's the lack of shows has been tough. So I'm glad though that you're finding a way to give a positive outlet, which is making the music. And now you're doing a new band that you have going on. It does originals and covers.
Yes,
the Boogie Boys, right?
Yeah, and I actually have my first show since COVID with them on June 5th.
Oh, sick!
Yeah, my buddy Andy hit me up about it, and I said, yeah, love to be a part of it, because they're like a funk fusion jazzy with originals and covers. They throw their own twists on them, and they're very, very talented musicians. So I'm very happy to be working with them. And I always wanted to do that style in like a proper band setting, and it was like the perfect storm. It just linked up.
Yeah, you had me when you said funk fusion. I was like, that's kind of what we do. I was like, oh shit. Well, I think we got a song of yours to play, actually. Yeah. You want to set it up real quick? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, actually, I wrote it right when lockdown kind of hit. It was not even supposed to be on the EP. It was kind of a last minute. It was going to be like a 4 or 5 song EP, and I was working on it last minute. And when I went to the studio to track, it was actually one of the ones I wanted to do first because I was the most excited for, and it ended up being the single.
Yeah, so, isn't that how it works out sometimes? It's just uncanny the way it works.
Happened.
I love it. All right, well, let's get the video up. Nick, are we golden? All right, I got my music man in the back there, Nick. All right, I'm going to get off the screen.
Dude,
Hey.
that was awesome.
Hey, Nick, how you doing? Thank you.
It's a pleasure to officially meet you, man.
Likewise, man.
I love the bass in that.
Thank
You gotta
you.
let us know what bass were you playing during the recording.
Actually, it was a bass I won a couple years ago. You ever see like those giveaways like on Instagram, like share this post and the hashtags?
Yeah.
Schecter teamed up with Riff Wars in like 2019 to share this post. You win this bass, and it was a Schecter CV4. I actually have it right over there. Let me just grab it real quick.
Oh, that's
If that's
awesome.
all right.
Yeah, of course. I
one
love
second.
Schecters. Dude, we're getting the inside scoop right here.
But yeah, my amp set up in here right now. But
Nice.
they
Wow.
actually sent this with the case, and all I did was share a photo 10 times.
Dude, that's amazing.
And yeah, all it was like a bunch of different bass layers with some harmonies, some different octaves I was messing with. My buddy Joe on guitar and synth, and my buddy Jeremy on drums. And what I like about that song particularly, like sound wise, it's like it kind of goes to like how COVID, everything was just kind of meh, and everything was just kind of all over the place. I wanted more uplifting. Is I guess what I was trying to go for with that more than anything. And it was just a lot of crappy stuff going on at the time. Wanted something good to come out of it.
I think this was great to come out of it.
I enjoyed writing it and releasing it, and people that heard it seem to have really liked it too. So it's just kind of what I was going for with that. The EP itself is like very funky driven and all that stuff, but that is probably one of the more stand-out-ish songs on it because it's the only melodic-y type of song I have on it.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, that was fantastic. Sorry, Nick.
No, go for it.
Can I see?
can't hear you.
Can you point your bass up at the screen again, just so I can see one more time?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. It was stuttering.
Right. Put your bass up at the screen again. I'm just curious. I want to see it again. Your bass.
I'm sorry?
The bass.
Could we get another shot of the bass?
The audio is stuttering.
You might need. Wait, can you hear us now?
Was it me? I'm sorry.
Nice and big. Rob, can you hear us any better?
Hello?
Oh no!
Did I
You
do
can't
it?
hear it.
It's doing it again.
Shoot.
I tune in. It's always my fucking fault, right?
No, we love you, Remy. Shoot.
I just wanted to see the
Why does
bass
this do
again,
this?
and I wanted to see your pickups. That's what I was kind of going for. What pickups are you using?
Hello?
Oh no, Rob, I'm so sorry. I don't know why
I
this
thought
is
we were
happening.
good. I thought we were in the clear.
We were. What happened?
Good old PA connection.
No, it was
Looks like
me.
it
It was
wants to do
me. You
something.
can take me out of it. It's okay.
No, it's not Remy. Wait, can you hear us now? No? Nothing. Dang it. What a horrible thing. Shoot. All right. Well, this is the worst. But guys, everyone, this is Rob Santoro. He's in a band called Boogie Boys. Definitely go check them out. I wanted to hear a little bit about him. That was an original that he just wrote. It was very cool. It reminded me of a band called Tortoise. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Have you ever heard of Tortoise?
Yeah.
Too bad Rob can't hear us. Rob, we love you, Rob.
It's still sputtering.
Ah, shoot.
I'm so
All
sad.
right.
I had so many questions too.
Shoot, I feel so bad. But listen, we gotta find a way to get Rob back. He's always welcome to hang out, but then we got Henry at the end of the episode. Otherwise, I'd tell Rob to come then. But when I pull you two off real quick, I'm gonna go to Henry Invisible right now. Rem, you stay on with me. But Nick, I'm gonna let you go. If you could just contact him and we'll figure that out. Try to make it up to him. I'm sorry, we'll have to figure it out. But all right. Rem, are you ready for our next guest?
Is it Joe?
No, in a little bit. No,
It's
right
Henry
now
Invisible.
we're going to Henry Invisible.
Okay.
Hello.
Nice to see you, man.
You too. How you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Staying healthy, staying fit, happy to be playing, happy to be here today.
I've been following you, man. You've been doing some great stuff, huh?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, trying to stay busy, despite everything. And we're getting back into live shows down here in Texas. So been playing quite a bit. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, for anyone doesn't know, Henry Invisible is in ATX, Austin, Texas, the music capital of America right now. And you have a bunch of new singles coming out. You want to tell us a little bit about them?
Hey, absolutely. So during this time of pandemic, I started this thing called the Love Stream, and this Wednesday we're at episode number 120.
Wow.
During that time, it was basically a songwriting exercise, just kind of to keep me sane and everything. And so I've written 120 songs, and I'm starting to get in the studio pretty much just every other day or so. And so my first release is coming August 6th. And I'm very excited about it. It's a very funky jam, and that's about all I can say right now because I haven't released the art or the name or anything. But I just want everybody to know that to follow me everywhere at Henry Invisible, and on Spotify, Henry Invisible is where all the new music's going to be. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Now, on the last release you had quite a few big names on it. Are there going to be any on this one, or any surprises, or anything that you could tell us?
Well, there's something in the pipes right now, but I hope that it works out. And if it doesn't, it's just going to move full steam ahead. But I do have another single coming out with a very, very legendary drummer. Man, I'm just excited about it all.
And who is that?
Because I know you're talking about the Bootsy recordings that I did with Bootsy, and also Omar Apollo. Those are some great tracks. But yeah. I mean, I've been pretty blessed to work with some great cats, and there's a lot of surprises coming for sure.
Henry, I gotta break the news. I'm flying down to Texas and recording on his whole album with him. All right, I'm only kidding. I would love that, though. That would be a dream come true. He's like, really? I didn't know this.
I was thinking you were coming to Texas. That's cool. Yeah, man. The heat of the summer. Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, all right. So you told me an interesting factoid before that I was very excited to learn about, actually, that prior to Henry Invisible, you had a band, Henry and the Invisibles. And then it just got...
Well,
I was going to make a joke saying Henry Uninvisible, but I guess that wasn't going to be funny.
Well, I am Henry plus the Invisibles too. I was the one-man band, Henry plus the Invisible Crew. But what happened was
that makes sense.
But what happened was, as it turns out, all of my social media has always been Henry Invisible since the start. And when I would book clubs, literally they were like, "Well, where are the other people?" And I'm like, "No, it's just me." And there was just a lot of confusion. The marquee guy had a lot of work to do, and there was just a lot of reasons. So when we started working with Bootsy, it was the beginning of January 2020. I decided to go ahead and rebrand the name, since all this new music is going to be coming out. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, the invisible aesthetic, it's like a superhero power, right? And I enjoy the stealthiness of the idea of being invisible. And it's some of the most beautiful things are invisible, Some of the worst things are too, but for my case, I'm a positive person. So, the emotions of excitement and all that stuff. And I'm coming stealthily. It's Henry Invisible. Yeah. So.
Well, I could say you are amazing and awesome. And Henry said, Love Stream every 9 on Wednesdays, always a great show. And I know one of our buddies we had on the show, Kevin Horan, he discovered you through here, and he is like one of your number one fans. So it's really awesome to have you on here again. And any shows coming up that people could check out?
Absolutely. Well, if you're in Texas, I'm playing every second Saturday at the world famous Antone's Blues and Funk nightclub on Fifth Street, which Muddy Waters has played there, James Brown, Ray Charles. I've got a residency there every second Saturday in Austin. We sold out the last one, and we're about to sell out this one too. And but then we're hitting the road. I'm going to be doing a festival up in Minnesota coming up in July.
Where?
It's called the Sounds of some. It's called, gosh, I'll get the name so next time we talk. But it's the Sounds of Summer or something like that, and it's in the town square or whatever. And doing that, and then I'm also playing a festival coming up in Missouri, and some other things. And we're just kind of touring around a little bit, here and there, spotty, of course. It's not like it used to be, but trying to do at least once a month, get out. So
Yeah, the shows are starting to pick back up, and we're waiting for you to
Yeah.
come to New Jersey or Pennsylvania so we can come out and meet in person. That'll be
I can't
awesome.
wait. I can't wait. So is the Stone Pony still kicking it? Is that where to go, or?
I think it's just reopening back up.
Okay.
From what I
Starland
saw, I think.
Ballroom, though. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
No, what'd you say, Rem?
Starland Ballroom, though. It's someplace you want to hit up.
The storeroom ball. What?
Starland Ballroom.
Awesome. I'll definitely look it up because we'd love to get out to Jersey. I have a lot of friends in New York, and I lived there. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you that the last time we spoke? I lived there.
So.
Yeah.
I would remember those things.
I lived in the Lower East Side for about 10 years.
No kidding.
Yeah, and that was I lived right off of Houston and Avenue B, between B and C, and I would play there all the time. I would play there. I was there for the blackout.
Okay.
No kidding.
Right on. All right.
Yeah, you want to hear a funny story before I go?
Why the hell not?
Okay, so I was at work. I was working on 47th, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm noticing everybody's just kind of looking up, like what's going on, and people are like getting in the streets. I'm saying, oh no, like what in the world is going to happen now, right? And so, anyways, we realized it was a blackout, and I walked all the way from 47th all the way down to Houston. That day. When I got home, I had a battery-powered guitar amp. I threw it in a backpack, put on some roller skates, and went down Avenue B and started playing guitar, electric guitar. I was the only electric guitar going on in the Lower East Side. And we all the firemen and everybody came over to Avenue B and 3rd Street, there was a place called B3, and we played all night. I played all night until the battery died on that thing.
That's fucking a fantastic story, bro. You can tell that story every time you have an interview.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Hey, I got Nick back here. Let me bring him on. I know he has a question.
What up, Nick?
Just when I thought you couldn't get any more cooler and creative. that is awesome.
Oh, thanks.
So you had mentioned some collaborations that you're going to be doing in this new music you have coming up, and some stuff that you're going to be releasing.
Yeah.
If you could put a tour together, where's a couple places that you would like to really be able to hit that you've never been before?
Oh, okay. Well, quite honestly, we've played most places in the States. I love New York. I love Cali. I love, Florida. I love, I love the festivals. So if anybody out there is booking a festival, knows a festival or whatever, hit me up, because we really enjoy playing those a lot. I'm kind of a festival vibe. It's real funky stuff, upbeat and all that stuff. But I'd have to say, though, any place that I haven't really played, I'd say Brazil. I'd love to go down to Brazil and hit one of those fests. And even some places in Europe I'd love to go to. I'm actually doing a live stream in Switzerland this Thursday for like 500 people. And they seem to really enjoy what I'm doing. So hopefully we'll get out there too. Everywhere. As soon as this COVID, I'm ready, man. Let's go. You
hear that? Hit him up. Henry, what's the best way to reach you if someone did want to book you for a festival?
Honestly, I've got a booking at henryinvisible.com on my website, but I'm just going to tell you right now, you can also hit me at Gmail, henryinvisibles@gmail, because that one just seems to work a lot better. It's a lot more consistent. So I got to tell you,
Awesome. And I notice you always have such a great setup with all your equipment. If somebody wanted to start their own one-man band, but was kind of just jumping right into it, what's the first piece of equipment that they should start out with?
Their first piece of equipment that they should, I think every one-man band is completely unique in the fact that it's based around your core instrument. So whatever that is, whatever your instrument is, it might be keys, might be bass, guitar, drums, I don't know. You want to build around that. That's all I can say pretty much. And other than that, you just go for it. I'm still learning myself and still trying to throw some things at the wall and see what sticks, but sure. When I first started, it was basically a I'll tell you this: I had a bass guitar, an acoustic guitar, and a water jug. That was it. That was what I started with. So it's evolved since, and I don't even know where it's gonna go, but I want to bring a sax in here at some point. And so yeah, play the sexy saxophone. Yeah.
The saxophone is what you
Anyway.
I wanted to ask you, you play so many instruments. What is one that you would love to bring in, but I mean, other than saxophone, like one that you don't play that you wish I wish I could learn how to play this and bring it in.
I wish I could learn how to play either the trumpet or trombone. I've actually attempted before. It was right when I was getting to saxophone. I played sax at school, so but they have you, they throw you a mouthpiece and you buzz on it and they give you a reed and you play on it and then they're like, you'll be a sax player. I'm like, okay, cool. But I love Fred Wesley. I love Miles Davis. I love Clifford Brown. I love a lot of those styles, Stanley Turrentine, and so brass.
I haven't heard anyone else say Fred Wesley, who's on this one band I used to love, Gray Boy All Stars. Did you ever hear of them?
Of course. Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone else say that. I love you, man. I knew I had you on the show for a reason.
Well, Fred, I know Fred, and I opened up for Fred a few times, and opened up for Maceo Parker a few times, and Fred's been there. So, the James Brown horns, the best of all time. Yeah.
That is so cool. Well, I am so stoked, bro. And everyone definitely, you want to go check out the Love Stream every Wednesday. I just can't say enough good things about you, Henry. When do we get you on the show again?
Hey, anytime you need. Well, I guess at the end of the show, I'll be doing a song, right?
That's right.
And then anytime you need, man, it's always a pleasure to see you guys. It's awesome.
Well, we appreciate it. And just before we let you go, is there any parting words of wisdom or anything you want to promote?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to mention, please follow me on whatever streaming services you listen to. Henry Invisible. I also have a lot of music at Henry plus the Invisibles, but I hear Spotify is going to be doing a lot of big changes, and I'm very amped about that. They're going to be transitioning more to like a YouTube kind of thing and more of a social media kind of thing. So definitely hit me up on Spotify, follow me up on Instagram, everywhere at Henry Invisible. And parting words of wisdom, I'd say just keep doing it.
All right.
To add to that?
Oh, yeah.
Was a good segue into our next guest.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
One of the first or last gigs I played with our next guest was in Austin at the something garage. What's it called? Henry, you know what I'm talking
Empire.
about. Yep.
Empire. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, listen, Henry, I can't wait. I hope when Joe gets the chance to hear you when we finish, because you're awesome. I love what you do, but we got to run on you. But we'll be back.
I just want to say one thing, Joseph. Yeah. I love that song. I was watching his podcast. I mean, I was watching a few videos today, and he's got this beautiful song. It's I Matter. And so I just want to say gorgeous, beautiful song, and God bless. All right, cool. Thank you.
Well, it's funny you say that, and you'll see why in a second. But thanks so much for coming on, Henry.
All right, peace.
Peace. Rem, how excited are you?
I'm always excited to hang out with Joe. He's one of my favorite humans. So
he is great. It was one of my best nights. Guys, if you're just tuning in now, this is the Stereo Joe Show. We just had on Henry Invisible. He's an awesome artist from down in Austin, Texas. But right now we're shooting over to Nashville, Tennessee, where we have the man of the hour, the one and only Joseph Wooten. Please welcome to the show.
I like it, Joseph Wooten.
Well, it's a North Jersey accent.
Wooten. That makes me gives me a little bit more street cred. But
how would you say it? How do you guys say it?
Well, there's Wooten, right?
There's Wooten. Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, but some people also say Wooten, right?
Wooten. That's how I would say it.
And then some people say Wooten. I like that, Wooten sounds from the street, you know what I mean? Sounds like my pants are sagging and you can see the top of my pocket.
The Wooten boys.
But yeah, look at six. So check it out. I wore the right shirt.
How funny is that? It was like
Yeah.
he knew.
But heck, check it out. So there's this, and then there's this.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I matter, you matter. I matter, you matter.com.
Is that on your website? Is that on the website or no?
Yes. I mean the whole I matter thing started from a song that I wrote like 2009, 2010 maybe.
Mm.
And we did a video in 2010. Excuse me, back when I was using a lady named Linda Appleby as a manager back then. So she's from Buffalo, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so we filmed the video in Buffalo, New York. And she's a retired educator. So she went to the school board, and the school board would fly me up, and they pay for me to speak at high schools, middle schools, and even some elementary schools. And I Matter was always, because nobody wants to hear you talk for 30 minutes, right? So I talk and play music. And the song I Matter kind of was always the song that would connect with people. Mm-hmm. So from the song I Matter came the video I Matter. From the video I Matter came the website, and then from the website came the charity. So
right.
And the funny thing about it was, like in 2010, 2009, 2010, there was nobody was there. It was before like Black Lives Matter, and then the whole contest of who matters the most. It was before that. So evidently, I was on to something.
You're a man ahead of your time.
Well, the cool thing about it is what I like about it is, like, I have a face mask. My face mask that I wear says, "Oh, hold on, I have it right here." Says, I matter, you matter.
Right.
And I'm always encouraged by the response that I see. People see I matter, you matter. They go, "I like that," which is good, because I'm always trying to find a way to cut through all the stuff that seems hard to cut through culturally. So
to connect with everybody.
Mm-hmm. Connection is the key phrase.
Absolutely. And you were mentioning it in your talks. Remy had recently invited me. I forget what the name of it was, but you've been doing a lot of these online talks.
I know. I like it.
And the one you had your keyboard out, it was really cool. And it was just like you said, you have your keys there, you're telling your story, and you're so entertaining. It was really good. And you have a TED Talk as well. How awesome is that?
Yes. Well, the thing about it is I would have had my keyboard tonight, but we've been having trouble with the internet. Like Comcast, all of a sudden, who's normally really dependable, like we went like a half a day with no internet, right? And then it came on, and then we were like watching the Predators play hockey, and they're in the playoffs, and like hockey really, if you're not a hockey fan, it only gets exciting in the playoffs if your team is in, right? So there I am, watching hockey, which
you're a hockey fan? Wait, hold on, I'm going to make you back up on that one. I know you like the Titans. I didn't know you were a hockey fan.
Everybody's a sports fan when their team is contending. Like the rest of the season, you're probably not watching me watch hockey. But we got spoiled. We got spoiled by the Predators, like we got spoiled with the Titans. One of the first year that the Houston Oilers became the Tennessee Oilers became the Tennessee Titans. We went to the Super Bowl that year.
Right.
So it seems so easy. Certainly we're going to the Super. And then the next year we went to the AFC Championship. And the next year we lost the game before the AFC Championship. Then the wheels fell off, and we found out how hard it was. Same thing with
the Dolphins fan, so
As soon as the Preds come, and they're the lowest seed in the playoffs, the first thing we did was knocked off the top team in 5 games. And then there we were in the Stanley Cup Finals. So when your team is in, if you're a sports fan, you're a fan of whatever that sport is, right?
Absolutely.
If somebody was throwing dimes up against the wall, it was like, oh, we have the dime throwing champion. Hold on, don't cook dinner yet. I gotta watch this guy throw dimes. So yeah. So this is the longest footnote in the world. So the whole thing is to say there was 3 minutes left in a tied game, right? So the Preds are playing. There's 3 minutes left in the game, and the screen freezes because Comcast once again had dropped our signal. So like, oh man. So here I am today. So I guess this is a plug for AT&T because we have AT&T Wi-Fi too, which is saving the day. Normally, I would be in front of my keyboard in my music room, but my music room is the farthest from the Comcast router, which is on the fritz. So I'm in my wife's office today.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tell Steph I said hi.
I sure will.
So you do basically everything. You've arranged, you've composed, you wrote a book. You do it all out of all the it all matters. There we go. Yeah, you want to tell us about that real quick?
Well, okay. So my mother, anybody that remembered my mother knows she was really wise. She was just full of these. Seemed like everything she said, you could like hang your life on that phrase because it was always so profound.
That's factual.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard people say the same thing about me, right? So I wished that my mom had written a lot of her wisdoms down. So I started writing down the ones that I was saying. And somebody saw the book that I was writing it in, and they said, you should publish that. That should be a book. So they said, if you'll put it into a document, I know how to get it to be an Amazon book. So there I was typing away in this long as heck document. I didn't realize it was that much. It seemed a lot easier when he said it. And then, yeah, it winds up being this book, words that it all matters, words, what I believe, words that I live by. Yeah. My wife's favorite quote out of it is, any decision made with testosterone needs a second opinion.
That is true.
I probably should have laughed that hard at that one.
No, every woman laughed hard at that one because you know better than anyone. Testosterone is absolutely necessary, but it's not a very good decision maker. You know what I mean? If you're making a decision based off of testosterone, run it by somebody else before you carry out plans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There should be like an in between, whatever you call that, like somebody to talk to in between that decision.
Talk that over with somebody else.
Well, real quick, I got another guest, Nick, who's been waiting in the wings here. I got to bring him on real quick. What's up, Nick?
Hey, Joseph, it's a pleasure to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, too. I love that nickname, Nick the Viking. Love it. A dark-haired Viking, too. Love it.
we have to get you a nickname before you leave. But I got to say, you've been cracking me up all night. Between here and then a couple of stories from the sound check. I wanted to ask, do you have any hobbies aside from sports outside of music that you like to partake in?
Hobbies. Recently, I've been doing more reading, which is kind of unusual because I never grew up. I was always a good reader, never liked to read that much because it's kind of a chore. I'm a very careful, thorough reader. So like I'm like a one word at a time. Make sure I understand each word. If I didn't understand the sentence, I'll reread the sentence. So to read a book from cover to cover is an effort for me because I'm trying to retain all of it. And I've been doing more of it because I like information. So I read for the benefits of it, not because I enjoy it. And I've been doing that more. So that's been filling my spare time when I'm not making music or exercising or studying nutrition or something. That's the thing that I've sort of acquired over the last few years that I did not grow up doing. But I think some of it is fueled by the fact that the older I get, the more, like I said before, I want to be able to cut through those sort of cultural barriers. Music is always a good tool for it, but in conversation, you need historic context. Everything is context. So to cut through some of the cultural stickiness that we've been in, you know what I mean? I study history. I study history and I study nutrition and I study culture and that's probably the biggest hobby I have outside of everything in music.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Joe is awesome. And I mean, he's not wearing my favorite vest, which I'm kind of.
Well, in the next room, I can go get it.
But one question I do have for you, Joe, since I haven't seen you since, oh gosh,
Since the tour.
maybe the tour.
So did I see you with the Steve Miller Band after the tour or before?
No, yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah, I saw you on tour. Was it New Jersey? Were we in New Jersey or were we in New York?
Oh gosh, Michael, do you remember where we saw that? Sorry, I'm asking Michael because I have the worst memory. Like no one can know. Where did we see Steve? Where did we see Steve?
Was it PA, Remy?
It was in Kingston, New York.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
That was the last time we hung out.
Yeah, that was the last time. It was fun too.
Yeah, it was a fun hang. You know,
always a fun hang.
Always. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say when I found out I was going to do this, I knew it was going to be a fun hang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've been playing with this Steve Miller Band for almost 20 years.
No,
how did that come about?
I've been playing with him for 28.
28?
I started in 93. It was 28, like in March. My first gig with him was Earth Day 1993. Is that crazy?
You know, you mentioned that before.
You weren't born then. I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you, bro.
So how did that come about? How did you meet each other? Because you have a really awesome history. I mean, you played with a lot of people since you were young growing up. If you want to tell us a bit about that and then how you met Steve.
Okay. Well, of course, I'll start with how I met Steve. Steve Miller, when I was in high school, like I knew who Steve Miller was because he was, you know, the Joker and Fly Like an Eagle. And,
he was Fly Like an Eagle, but
in high school in the 70s, in the 70s there was black radio, there was white radio, right? So I knew who he was, but I wasn't really listening to him a lot. I remember that I did like Fly Like an Eagle. I liked that groove. So when I moved to Nashville in 1990, I wasn't quite married yet. And my then girlfriend and I, we moved September the 18th, 1990. And we had been living together for almost 9 years. We knew we were going to start a family. So we said, we'll get married first. So we went back to Virginia, got married on November 11th, 1990. Then my son was born 10 months later in October. So the financial ceiling was getting low. We moved with Nashville. You know, the plan was for her to stay home not have to work because that's best for the child. But the gigs weren't coming in. Well, the money wasn't coming in. The gigs were coming in. You know how that is. And the financial ceiling was getting lower and lower when I was doing this recording session for a guy named Chris McCarty. And Chris McCarty knew Steve. And I found out later he was a co-writer of one of the greatest hits, Swingtown. So at the time, I'm just doing a recording session and you want to do your best, but I didn't think the recording session was anything special. And we had 2 days. The first day he said, you know, Steve Miller is losing a keyboard player. You'd be perfect for that gig. And as a musician, you hear stuff all the time, and I was polite, And the next day, he said, "Man, did you send that audition tape in? You should have sent that audition tape in yesterday." And he gave me Steve's mailing address. So I was like, "Well, if I don't send it in now, and I got his mailing address, you know what I mean? That's on me, right?"
Right.
So I did a funky loop of Abracadabra, right? Abracadabra is going do 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 do, right? So I did a boom 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 boom, and I put a piano solo on it. I put an organ solo on it, and I put a lead synthesizer solo on it. And then at the time, one of the things that was sustaining me, I was doing what's called sound-alike work. And sound-alike work is where you make tracks to sound like the artist, because it's cheaper to get you to sound like the artist than it is to pay licensing, right? So I would get all of the hip hop and the R&B vocals, So I had done, Busta Rhymes, don't this hit make the people want to jump. But I had just done Boyz II Men's a cappella version of It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday. So it was, I was like, this is a good display of me being able to sing harmony. It's 4 parts, it's a cappella, it's all me. I sent that in. And then I sent in, when my brothers and I had our record deal, we got signed to Arista Records the same time they signed Whitney, same producer, same label, same time she signed a great deal and we didn't. But because we were using the same producer, when Whitney sang "You Give Good Love," nobody's in the studio except me, Whitney, and Kashif, the producer. Well, he produced another song on her called "Thinking About You," and I'm harmonizing in the booth, and he says, "Oh man, I like that. Go in there and sing that." So there's on this song "Thinking About You," there's me singing with Whitney. So I sent that in to Steve so he would know that I wasn't just just a nightclub singer. And maybe a week later, I can't remember if it was a week later, 10 days, 3 days, he says that as soon as he got the cassette tape, he got so excited because he had gotten a lot of keyboard submissions and he was just about to go out without a keyboard player. And then he got mine and he said, as soon as he heard some, he's like, he wanted to pick up the phone. He's like, let me calm down. Let me listen to the rest of it. And, he called me and I remember him saying that this is the kind of gig that you could have for the next 10 years if you wanted it. And for me, I was just looking for something steady. And truthfully, I knew that I was familiar with his name. I knew I'd heard it before. But when you live in Nashville, there's all these big names that you hear all the time. So I just figured it was something steady. I didn't think it was like that big. So I go, and the first gig I did was Earth Day, 1993. And so that was like an outdoor gig at the University of Minnesota. It was in Minneapolis. So that wasn't that big. I thought, you know what I mean? So the next night we're playing at the Target Center.
No big deal.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal because it was like we just had like a miniature setup outside on the campus. So the next night we're playing at the Target Center. So
can I cut you off for
Sure.
1 second? Just because they probably don't know how big Target is in that area.
The Target Center is an arena.
It's in a giant arena there.
It's an arena where so the next night's at the Target Center. And then so this thing that I wasn't thinking was that big, I step out of them and I look and there's tour buses all the way down the street. It's like, oh my gosh. So and still in my head, I'm thinking, I wonder which one of these musicians I'm going to be rooming with. You know what I mean? The tour manager walks up and he puts a stack of per diem in my hand, which is like the amount of money I was normally making in Nashville for the week, And then I walk in and, there's the whole arena stage set up with the lights, and Steve was testing, new lighting system by Nocturne, and there was a video screen and the whole thing. And that's when I realized that it was how major it was. But I thought I was going to be taking my turns driving. You know what I mean?
Driving the van.
Yeah, because in Nashville, oftentimes the name that you've heard of, they meet in a big parking lot at Kroger or something, and then you jump either in the van pulling the trailer, or you jump in the tour bus pulling the trailer. So I just figured I thought that Steve Miller was a name that I had heard in town that was working steady. I was happy to get it because I was going to be working steady, and I didn't realize that this was a rock and roll icon, and I found out quickly. So yeah, I did the tour, and I started out making half of what everybody else was making just to make sure it was going to work. He said, if at the end of the tour, if everything's good, you'll make the same money as everybody else. In the tour, I made the same money as everybody else. Then we went to Australia. Steve turned 50 the night we went to Australia. Truthfully, we flew the night before his birthday, and because we flew over the timeline, and we landed the day after his birthday. So he was joking that he was still 49 because he had his birthday.
In the States, he was still 49.
But yeah, it was one of those things. In hindsight, it's a great lesson in always putting your best foot forward, because this on the face, the recording session wasn't anything special, right? So had I gone into it like it was nothing special and sort of mailed it in and didn't really prepare and all of that, it probably wouldn't have given me the opportunity that I got. But I put my best foot forward. The guy liked my work, and he opened the door for me. And that's, if there's a lesson in it. If there's a lesson in it, like people will say, like, what's your what advice can you give me for success? Well, the best thing you can do for success is be more concerned with the quality of your work rather than trying to prepare yourself for a situation, because opportunity has nothing to do with you. But you being prepared for opportunity has everything to do with you. So, like, if somebody asked me when I was a kid,
Take notes, folks. Take notes. Sorry.
If people asked me when I was a kid, when you grow up, do you want to be the keyboard player for a classic rock artist? I wouldn't have said yes, right? But again, you don't know what your opportunity is going to be. But like in my family, we practiced. My mom made sure that we were good people because she knew that'd be important. She was more concerned with what quality kind of people we are than how good we played music. We were concerned with how good we played music. She knew we would take care of that, and we made sure we put our best foot forward, and so all of those things worked in my favor. My advice would be concerned with the quality of your work, be concerned with the quality of your personality, and keep your eyes open for opportunity, right? It's good to have a goal. It's good to have a goal because having a goal makes you, it brings out the best in you, when you set a goal. But you can't have tunnel vision for a goal, because oftentimes the goal is not really the thing that you need. It's just the thing that brings the best out in you. Like the manager for the Steve Miller Band, he was a rock guitar player, and he was putting everything into his guitar playing and trying to make this band a success. And in that, he realized that he was the guy organizing everything, right? So, and he realized that he wasn't at that level that he wanted to be to make a living doing it. But in him trying to get to that goal of getting their band there and being the best musician, it gave him the work ethic, and he recognized that he was a good organizer. So he made the pivot, and now he's Steve Miller's manager. And that's why you set a goal. You set a goal so that you will work hard and have dedication and have a good work ethic and be easy to work with other people, and you keep your eyes open for opportunity. So the mistake that some people make, you get tunnel vision. Like I've heard people say, don't take no for an answer. You can have anything you want, which feels good to say. You know what I mean? But for some people, if you don't take no for an answer, sometimes no is the answer. No is the answer. Yeah. So if you like, I mean, one example, like the story, the Notre Dame story, Rudy, like the little kid,
Love that movie.
Small. Yeah,
Little kid.
we love that movie, but he's too small to play football, but he won't take no for an answer. But because he's focused on that goal, it brings out the best in him, even though no is the real answer, right?
Yep.
Yeah. If he doesn't take no for an answer, then his life doesn't get a chance to go forward.
I was gonna say, or he'll be continually being disappointed.
Well, yes,
because he's trying so hard, but I feel like there's disappointment in that. If you, am I wrong in that?
No, you're not wrong. It's just there's disappointment in it, but also you're headed in a direction that's not meant for you. What you're trying to do is find what's meant for you, and if you keep your eyes open, you'll get to what's meant for you. Right? Because you set a goal and you're earnest towards that goal doesn't necessarily mean it's the thing that's meant for you. It means that it's good to set that goal, and setting that goal will serve a purpose. If you bring the right things to setting a goal, if you're going to get to a goal, then it means hard work, dedication, preparing. Well, that's going to work in your favor anyway. So you work hard, you prepare, you're dedicated, you're easy to work with, you're on time. I always say, make sure you're good at the things that don't require talent. I mean,
Jimmy would love this.
You're good at the things that don't require talent. Being on time, being respectful, looking the part, being respectful of the person in charge, even if you think the person in charge is wrong. Those are things you have to have. And if you don't have those, they'll get in your way, even if you do have the talent for the job. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like,
absolutely.
We were touring Steve Miller Band. We were co-headlining with Journey, and Tower Power was the opener. Right?
Really?
I'm like,
with Rocco?
Tower of Power was the opener.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, listening to this band, I'm like, what are you guys doing playing first? You know what I mean? But Tower Power is a big band, right?
Yeah.
Like 6 horns and, keyboard player, bass, drums, guitar.
It says Rocco Presti on the bass, no? Is that Tower?
What's that?
With Rocco Presti on?
That was Rocco. But now Rocco was ill.
I know he passed away.
He came in for a while and played a little bit, but he was not fully well. I think he had a liver transplant at the time. But the band was killing. And there's 6 horns, rhythm section. So there's and a singer. So there's 11 of them on the stage, and then there's a tour manager. There's a tour manager and a 2-member crew. So there's no room for anybody to be a jerk on that tour bus, no matter how good you play. So you have to be good at the hang. Otherwise, even at that level of musician, you got to go. And if you don't know that before you get, not just in the music business, but in everything, you'll lose your chance to do what you're good at. There's the player Terrell Owens, right? T.O. He's a football player, wide receiver. Nobody.
Oh, you mean football? I was like,
but nobody's caught more touchdowns than him except one person, Jerry Rice, right? And T.O. can play right now. T.O. is still fast. He raced Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, they were going to run the 100 meters, and Tyreek Hill is the young fastest man in the NFL, and T.O. is like a 40-something, and he gave T.O. a 10-yard head start because he's going to run down T.O. And they were neck and neck at 100 yards, and then they ran a 40-yard dash straight up, and he just barely edged out T.O. T.O. can still play, but whether it's true or not, T.O. has a reputation of being bad for a team. right? Being disruptive, and in the huddle, he's like, the quarterback can't even call the play for him, talking about, I'm open, they can't guard me, and because of that, now whether it's true or not, whether because he'll tell you a different story, and his story may be true also, but it works against him that the narrative on him is that he's bad for a team. So even when
Yep.
you're the second best of all time, if the second best of all time is having trouble working because of his personality, let that be a message to the rest of us who aren't the greatest of all time to
Right.
work on our personality.
Yeah.
One thing your brother, I'm sorry, Jimmy, I cut you off.
No, I was just saying my favorite TO moment was when he was on the Niners and he ends up scoring on the Cowboys and he puts down the ball at the start. Emmitt Smith comes over and knocks him over.
Yeah.
That was so out of character for Emmitt Smith too. And he
Yeah.
was just so mad. I loved it. I was like, this is great.
But you know what I mean? If Emmitt Smith could still play football, he'd still be on the field. And T.O. can still play football and nobody will touch him. And maybe everybody's wrong about him. I don't, he would tell you that they are. But we're responsible for our reputations. We're responsible for how we are received by other people. And that's not the part that you learn when you're studying music theory or you're playing your scales or you're learning that Jocko solo or that whomever it is solo.
I had to laugh, but yes.
But that's not how, when you're trying to get good, you think that how good you are is the thing that gives you a career. And it's part of it. It's part of it. But like being talented to having a career is similar to being in love to having a relationship. Right? Being talented feels good, right? It feels good. Like you're in the room and you can play the same thing that your hero's playing on YouTube, right? But having a career, being able to do what they do on YouTube doesn't mean that you're good in front of a crowd. It doesn't mean that you can stay awake on the long drive. It doesn't mean that you can get your Fender Rhodes up the stairs. Doesn't mean.
I hate that part.
Yes. But it's true though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know from huge experience, but it is true.
Having a career is something else. It doesn't mean that you're good when you don't know what your money's going to look like next week, right? It doesn't mean that you negotiate with club owners or other band members well. Doesn't mean having a career is like what you do. Having talent is just an ability, but turning it into a living is something else. Like being in love is a feeling, but like, do you flatten out the toothpaste or do you roll it up?
That is a huge argument in many relationships.
Yeah, but who gets the car? Who gets dropped off? Right?
Right.
Yeah, where do the canned goods go? If he's from one of those regions where the worse you smell, the more manly you are, and you're like a 2 shower a day person. You know what I'm saying?
I always wonder about those.
Jimmy's a 5 shower a day person.
I wonder about those girls that like those smelly guys. I do. I'm like, what's going on?
The relationship versus love is similar to the talent versus a career.
Putting that. Thank you, Joseph.
They're related to each other, but they're not the same thing. And you can get in trouble thinking they're the same thing. Because somebody gets disrespected and you go, because of what you did, you go, but I love you, right? All of a sudden, that love is a problem because it's not supported by the right things. I mean, I love you is a great thing to hear if you believe it already. If you don't believe it before they say it, they're the emptiest words ever spoken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're the emptiest. I mean, they are the emptiest words ever spoken if your actions don't support it. Right? You came in late and you smell like somebody else. You know what I mean? But I love you. Doesn't fix it.
Yeah, you're in trouble then.
That's right. I mean, actions are definitely louder than words. Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, we show who we are by what we do. It's kind of like I was thinking about this the other day about respect. Respect is only good when you show it. It's not enough to have it. To
Right.
have it and not show it, right? Because to not show it is disrespectful,
That's
right?
right.
To have it is that's just a concept.
Mhm.
Like the Cowardly Lion, he knew what courage was. He just didn't have none. Right? I mean that speech the Cowardly Lion gives in The Wizard of Oz. That's a great speech on courage.
Yeah.
I can feel myself get ready to say it because I memorized it as a kid. I loved it so much. But yeah, obviously he knows what it is. He just
Right.
don't have none. So respect is one of those things. To have it for somebody is good, but it's not useful until you show it. If you have respect for your wife, but you're still cutting her off when she speaks, right? That's just conceptual. That's not upheld by your actions. So
Absolutely.
not sure how I got on that subject.
I love it. I love it.
I think all three of us needed to hear that, so you're good. That was fun. That was great.
Well, I wanted to kick a question from the audience, and I want to change this up a little bit. What's your favorite song to play live? And I was hoping to know your all-around favorite song to play live and your favorite Steve Miller Band song to play live.
Okay, so I'll start with Steve Miller because I have the feeling maybe that's what he meant. My favorite Steve Miller Band song to play live is absolutely "Fly Like an Eagle."
Really?
It's about the only keyboard-driven Steve Miller song, right? Love that tune, and I love that groove too. It's very what's funky about it is very reminiscent of "Slipping in the Darkness" by War. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, yeah.
You know, "Fly Like an Eagle" is boom, 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 right?
Boom, boom, boom.
But my favorite song to play live, it depends. Like I like playing so many things. Like I'm a big Sly and the Family Stone fan, so I like playing Sly music. But it depends. Different times for different things. Like there's some stuff of mine that I really like playing. Like with my musicians, there's a song I have called "Not Just Religion" on my Soul of Freedom record that my band plays really well, and I enjoy playing it with him because the percussionist is just his favorite song in the world. So the joy that he has playing my song is always enjoyable. But like, I love Ohio Players music, Sly and the Family Stone, James Brown. I'm a big, all the Wooten brothers love James Brown. But that's there you go.
Yeah, now you have a couple of different acts. You have Joseph Wooten in the Hands of Soul.
Absolutely.
You have the Wooten Brothers, and you have the Steve Miller Band. I was lucky enough to see you in the Wooten Brothers, and I guess technically I saw you in Steve Miller. So now I just got to come see the other band. But what are some of the differences? Taking the stage, your brothers you've obviously known your whole life. I'm sure you have a different sense of camaraderie. But like, what are some of the beautiful differences between taking the stage with each group of people?
Excuse me for a minute. I will be back in like 2 seconds. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. So the difference is that when I play in the Steve Miller Band, anytime you're a side person, the question you should be asking yourself is, how does what I do make that person look better? Right? So the Steve Miller gig is a different gig because he's the focal point. So I'm not trying to play substitutions and all that kind of stuff because I don't want to do things that make people take their eye off of him. If I do something flashy and people stop looking at him and look at me, that's not my job, right? So the difference in the Wooten Brothers and in my band, I'm leading it, right? So that's a whole different thing. I can do whatever I want. I can reframe a song. I can put a song over another song. I can come out of a ballad into Moment's Notice. I can do whatever I want. And the Wooten Brothers, we're free, and we know each other really well. You look at a person and your head tilts, and they know exactly what you mean. In the Steve Miller Band, the difference in the Steve Miller Band that's different than the other two situations is that in the other two situations, the keyboard is it's an equal player in the rhythm section. In the Steve Miller Band, most of those songs were written and didn't even have keyboards on them. Like Fly Like an Eagle, Swing Town, they have keyboards in them. Most of the other ones, they're guitar songs, right? So when we play them live, my thing is, how do I insert the keyboard in and not take away from this song that people have been hearing? The Steve Miller Band is more like a guitar band that has a keyboard in it, as opposed to the Wooten brothers or Joseph Wooten and the Hands of Soul, which is a rhythm section that has all the instruments in it. The Steve Miller Band, it's the guitars come first. So when I'm playing, like, good example, Steve Miller loves great piano playing on recordings, but live, guitar frequencies are up there where his voice is. So I know when we play live, if he's giving me something to listen to and it has all this piano in it, I already know he's not going to want me to play all that stuff because all that piano movement is right up where his vocal is. I know that already. So I'll take that part and simplify it somewhere down that's not around his voice. Or if I'm playing keyboards, I do it in a way that doesn't get in the way of guitars. So that's the difference when I play with the Steve Miller Band. I'm trying to enhance the guitars, not get in their way, not get in the way of his voice. And the Wooten brothers, it's a free for all, right? We can do what we want, and we know each other really well. We've been doing it for 50 plus years. In Joseph Wooten and the Hands of Soul, I can do what I want. Now that's my situation, and
I love it.
Yeah, I love. My thing is, I love showing people that different styles of music relate. So I'll be playing maybe like Round Midnight or something, which is in E flat minor, and go straight from Round Midnight into that Usher song, "You Remind Me of a Girl That I Once Knew," which are not two songs you would normally mash up, but why not?
The mashups are so great, and what's so great about them too is, like you were saying, you might have two different music lovers in the room that like a different style of music, and when you put those together, gives them something to both grab onto, and then it turns them onto your other music in a new way.
Yes, and that's what music is for. Like, musically, what we're doing, what I try to do is to show you that good music is just good music. Like, it's not, we talk about genres, but we don't have to be bound by them. So I try to show that musically, but the thing to remember is that music always represents culture. And if we study why music is good, it gives us tools in how to make life better. And what I mean, the explanation is, like, if I was at a keyboard, I'd press all the keys down, right? And it sounds like a mess, but it's a mess with potential. That's what you make music from, right? This is what I make music from, this mess. But it's a mess with potential.
I'm a mess with potential, so if that works.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
As we all are, but let's follow that line of thought, though. Let's follow that line of thought. It's a mess with potential, and what takes the mess to music is intelligence, right? You apply intelligence to the mess, right? And that gives you music. So if you try to use music to give you a way of making life better, because there's something in us that recognizes that music is life as it should be. Nope, there's nobody that doesn't like music, right? But if you think about what music is, in music, the more diverse the sounds, the better. The more diverse, the better, right? What music is a path forward for diversity, right? It's a beautiful path forward for diversity. And the three ways that we do it is rhythm, harmony, melody, correct? So I was thinking about this the other day. Rhythm is a thing that takes things that are different and has them respect each other's space, right? Take two things unrelated. Maybe you cough and you beat your chest or something. Those are kind of related. Maybe you stomp the floor and cough, right?
Mhm.
They're pretty but if you put them on the beat, stomp, cough, stomp, cough, stomp, cough, stomp, cough. Now those differences have a path forward. That's more profound than either the stomp or the cough, right? That's what music is. So rhythm is the thing that makes things at a different respect each other's space. Harmony is what happens when things respect each other's essence, right? F and A. F recognizes this tone. A recognizes this tone, and they respect each other's, and they come together and make this thing that's better than either note. That's what harmony is, and all melody is. So you have this beautiful situation made from things respecting each other's space and respecting each other's essence. You have this groove, and the melody is an identifier, right? So like I could go, that Beethoven symphony, the one I'm talking about, or I could go da, 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 da. That
Big
brings
Bird Master know what you're talking
it brings
about.
you right back to the beautiful situation. So if we apply that to life, because music gives you clues. The thing that makes you respect each other's space in life is respect. You respect somebody else, you're respecting each other's space. If you not just having it, but showing it. Respect is like it's not good until you show it, right? You respect each other's space. Harmony is like when you respect somebody's opinion, right? And you show them that you understand. And one of the tools that I like to use, if we're talking about something, maybe it's the election, right? Normally things that are volatile, abortion, whatever it is. You make their point before you make yours, just so they know that you understand them and that they're heard. It's not a guarantee that you'll have harmony, but there's more of a chance of it. The fact that you show respect is not a guarantee that you're gonna have a path forward after that, but it's more likely that you will. But you're trying to do the same. Life is a jam session of ideas, right? And in a jam session, it takes rhythm, harmony, and melody. Once you can have the conversation, then it's good if you can put it into words in a way that you can recall it again, right? Rhythm, harmony, and melody. Music gives us tools that we can use once we take the instrument off. But too often, once we take the headphones off and we step away from the instrument, we stop trying to make music and we use our differences to invalidate another difference, right? Which you can never make music that way. If the bass drum and the violin argue, the bass drum can always win that argument with volume, right?
Yeah.
Can't make a very can't make a very articulate point, but it can drown out the other point, and music will never be made, right? And we've been in those jam sessions before, where somebody tries to be the dominant one without any respect for anybody else. You see me do this, I'm like, no, but my point is what makes music good. If we take the analogy, once we step off the instrument, if we keep trying to make music, aka a path forward for differences, as opposed to trying to make one piece of diversity lose and the other one win, then we can find a path. We can find a path forward. It can be done. We just got to remember to keep doing it.
I'll tell you, that is one of the coolest explanations ever on music that I've ever heard. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to steal a lot of that. I mean,
please. That's why I hope
question,
because it's not theft. It's not theft. Like that's not my idea. That's just my way of putting it. But people do it innately. It's just another reminder of how to go forward, not trying to invalidate other people, not trying to make other people wrong, not trying to disrespect other people. And if you can recognize why you're doing things, then it gives you a chance for your intent to be good. Because it takes intent is not enough unless it rests upon some ability. Right? Like there's a lot of people that sit behind the keyboard and put on a bass and intend to play good music. Right? But unless you have some ability, some skill, some feel for the other instruments that you're going to play with, then your intent can be destructive unless it's founded on. That's why, like, you'll see some people sometimes they go, like, whatever you are, whether you're Chinese, Korean, I don't know, right? Whatever you call yourself today, that ain't really respectful. You know what I mean? And even though your intent may not be to hurt somebody's feelings, if somebody's Korean and you go, man, you the coolest Japanese person I've ever met.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your intent is good. I'll tell this brief story, and this is embarrassing, but it's telling. So, like, I remember when my first wife was pregnant, and I like everything that pregnancy does to a female. I just think it makes a girl girlier. Love it, right? So
Earlier, I'm sorry, you put that. I had to laugh.
all the stuff you like about girls, it just enhances it. Like the hair gets in the skin gets and the curve get curvy. All this I like. Right?
I don't know. I don't have any children.
Yeah.
But the way you said
It makes
that.
a girl girlier. I love all of it. Right? Like some people, there are some men like the wife gets pregnant and they just like go right until 9 months later. I'll be glad when it comes back to normal. With me, I like all 9 months of it. Right? So there was a woman, and I remember she was pregnant, and I asked her like when she was due, and I hope that I didn't put my hand on her belly, but I may have.
Are you sure she was pregnant?
She wasn't pregnant.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not know this story in advance.
She was not pregnant. My
Was it heavy?
intent was magnificent. You know what I mean? But it wasn't founded upon knowledge. And I did real damage with good intent. There's no apology you can do. There's nothing you can do.
No.
There's nothing. You can't apologize. You can't explain your way out of it. There's nothing in the diplomacy book that's going to help it out. That was just like really wrong.
It's one of those moments when you're like,
yes.
I wish the floor would just open up and I could just fall through.
Yes. And my intent was rooted in respect for women, the whole thing, but it wasn't founded on information. And I tell the story because it's a vivid example of how good intentions are not enough unless they're founded upon some information or some ability or something of substance. Intent is not enough. My intentions were really good, and
Of course.
I was really incurably wrong.
I did
That's one of those you can't even recover from. You just like apologize and keep.
Yes, you can't even the apology. You know what I mean? Even the apology is problematic after that.
It's just like, oh God.
Like, but how do you do that? Like, I apologize for thinking that you were. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a baby in it, but apparently you're just heavy. Oh God! No, I'm running away.
You just start running as fast as you can. You're like, oh no, we lost Joe.
Oh God! Did
All right,
my comment make him disappear?
He did. He got right out. No, hopefully he pops back in. We'll hang a minute. If not, we're gonna kick it back to Henry Invisible, who's waiting back in the wings there so patiently.
It would be me. It would be my comment that would make Joe disappear.
No, here he is.
It would be my comment that Joe's like, I'm out. I'm done.
That same woman might work. She might work for AT&T. You know what I mean?
It's the
He's like, I remember him.
him.
What I was saying was this. You know, once you make that kind of mistake, all you can do is just don't offer anything else to the situation, right? Just let it go away. Because even at that point, even the apology is problematic, right? I apologize for thinking you were pregnant. You know what I mean? The more you add to it, the worse it gets, right? So you just
quicksand.
Yeah, you just like, and you just mark that in your head. That will
Right.
never happen again.
Lesson learned. Is that like a lesson
as
learned?
a teenager, and it was mortifying. I'll never forget it, and I'll never do it again.
Yes, I was like so sorry. I was like so remorseful, but I can't. You can't say like I'm so sorry for thinking you were pregnant, because once you put it into words, then that like implies why you apologizing, right? Which says,
oh yeah, I'm not good at that.
Exactly, yeah. Like well, when I looked at you, I honestly did. Oh, no, that's not good either. So yes. So it's
the
just
story,
I remember setting it just, and I just like I was remorseful, and I just left the situation.
You just walk away. Like, oh gosh.
What I took away from this story is you were trying to tell her she was very girly, and that was great.
That was my intent. My intent was,
right.
I love what this does to a female, right? But she wasn't pregnant. But she wasn't pregnant, man.
That's the worst.
I tell this, it is painful every time I tell it, but it makes the point so well that
it's a good lesson, though.
Not enough.
It's a good lesson.
And each time I tell it, I just go, oh.
It pangs you in your soul.
Yes.
Oh my God.
This is female just having a good old day, and then here comes this guy out of nowhere.
Oh God!
Like goes, man, I think you're pregnant. It's just like
you're not just a little pregnant. Oh God!
So messed up, man. Just so wrong.
I mean, I know you didn't intend that to be a funny story, and it's not funny. I mean, I guess it's not funny from your perspective, but it kind of is like on an outsider perspective. It's kind of.
Yeah, and even the more like it's funny, and that's problematic too, because it's funny at somebody's expense, and she's not here. But
it's awkwardly funny, if that makes sense.
It's awkwardly funny, but there's a lesson. There's a lesson in it, right?
Yes.
I tell it for the lesson, even though each time it kind of like.
It pangs.
Yeah, each time, because I sort of pride myself in like thinking before I do things. I think of myself as like a thinker, and I'm not just a reactor. So, you know what I mean? I'm like being the best guy that I know, and I know that a lot of people don't. And so, what do you do?
There's no recovering from that.
Oh, there's none.
Well, I got another question from the audience. What is the best advice for a fellow touring musician?
Okay. The best advice for a touring musician, that assumes that you're good enough to handle the part. The rest of it is being good, what I call being good at the things that don't require talent. Of course, being on time, being prepared, looking the part, but being somebody that the other musicians are happy to see. Right? When you look at the working musicians and the ones you see work a lot, and you go, that person doesn't play that great. A lot of times it's because they either make the music feel good, and they're easy to be around, right? They're easy to be around, and that's when my mother, when she was raising us, people would say, "Mrs. Wooten, aren't you so proud? Your sons are so talented. All your sons are so talented." She was like, "That doesn't make me proud." She said, "They've been playing their whole lives. By now, they ought to be good at it." And she would say, "But if you tell me that they inspired you, or you tell me that they helped you, or you tell me that they taught you or something, then that makes me proud, because that's what I worked on." And so as a touring musician, the first thing is obviously, to be good enough to play, to be good enough to perform the part. But that just gets you in the door. The thing that will keep you in the door are the other musicians feeling good when you're there, you being on time, you being prepared, you being dependable. Those are the things that will get you a chance to work again. Those are the ones.
That is so good. That is so brilliant. And I'll tell you what, in the comments, it's funny. The people loved your story. It was great.
You
know what? It's an honest mistake. It happens to everybody.
Yes, it's an honest mistake, but for her, it didn't matter that it was an honest mistake.
Yeah. Oh no.
Just a
And
bad.
that's why you feel so bad.
That's why you feel so bad. But that's why it's important. It's important not to just have intelligence. It's important to have some awareness of how that intelligence is going to be received by other people, right? So if you're using a music analogy, it's good to have facility, but you have to know when to use it. Like there's a lot of things I could do on keyboards, but if it's taken away from people looking at Steve, or if it's taken away from people looking at Victor, then I'm using my talents in a way that aren't conducive, right? It's important to understand how what you're good at or what is going to interact with other people. So a lot of people will go, well, look, man, I'm just being honest, man. I don't really care. I'm just being honest, man. So, that's no good either, right? That's no good either. I mean, brutal.
Can I say, like, maybe their version of honesty is just their opinion, and it's not?
Well,
or do they put honesty and opinion in the same category?
Well, the thing is, the fact that it's honest is not enough, right? Brutal honesty is just brutality, right? If I
agree. I'm just
in the eye with the Bible, your eye just bleed. You know what I mean? It does not bleed because it was the Bible. I still bleeding. So brutal honesty is still brutality. So it's important. It's part of our responsibility with knowing things is to have some feel with how people are going to receive them, right? So if it's good, like the analogy I use is if a woman has a miscarriage, right? That's an awful situation. At that point, she doesn't want to hear the statistics of how miscarriages have been cut in half since the 30s. You know what I mean?
Of course.
She had a miscarriage and you go, miscarriages have been cut in half since the 30s.
Right.
That's a bad use. That's a bad use of the truth, right? And and it's my responsibility. It's our responsibility to handle the things that we know with some responsibility. But too often, and you see that when like people talk about politics, and they'll go, they think because they're right, they can go so asshole, right? It's like, there's no reason to put it in that package, right? We should have some respect for each other because at that point, even if you're right, you just made things worse. Even if what you said was right, you just made things worse. And the purpose of truth is not to make things worse; it's to make things better. And to use another music analogy, there's a lot of ways to play the right notes the wrong way, right?
You've done great examples of showing that, at least on the keyboard. You've done, many camps or whatever. I've seen you teach that many times, and you do
the most example. The example I use a lot of times is, if you fart the national anthem, even if you have perfect pitch, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's just a terrible rendition.
Even that would be a hit YouTube video.
Even if you recorded in key, it still sounds terrible.
Right. Keep your hands on your heart. Even if like it's beautiful, I mean, even if the pitch is good and the phrasing is good, and
it's important time, Joe. Then, like, honestly, you win.
You feel bad for the person using the microphone the next time. They didn't know what they were in store for.
But the point that I'm making is, too many people think that the end goal is to be right, right? And if you play music, having the right notes is the beginning of it, not the end. Right? You get sheet music. It's not over because you can read the sheet music. You have to read it properly. You have to not play too loud, not too soft, not too fast, not over the top of the other people. Play it in tempo with other people. There's a lot of things that go beyond getting the notes right. Well, there's a lot of things that go beyond having your facts right. There's a lot of disrespectful ways of being right. And that's the part that people oftentimes forget because being right and being divisive is not making music. It's not a path forward for differences of opinion.
But that could be used in life in general, too. That's
Yeah,
a
of course.
life advice as well.
Yes, life in general, being right is the beginning, is the beginning of it, not the end. To have the correct information is the beginning of it. Then you have to go do good things with it.
Right.
Right. But if I'm right, if my facts are correct, and I use my correct facts to make you feel awful, that's not that I'm not doing the right thing just because my facts are right.
Right. Like,
Right,
what have you accomplished by that? Almost nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You made somebody feel like shit. No,
Yeah.
without for lack of better words. Like,
No, you're absolutely right. But it's a thing. It's a thing that you have to get used to doing. Right. So if your facts are right, then if your intent is to make things better, then your intent rests on proper facts, and you have more tools to make things better.
right.
That's why I like to read. That's why I like to read, because I can give the person I'm talking to more context. Like a good example, like you'll hear people talk about crime, right? Crime, black on black crime. How come there's so much black on black crime in Chicago? You'll hear that a lot. And I'll say, well, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about why they live in those conditions in Chicago, right? They live in those conditions because when they were building Chicago, when they were building the suburbs, black people weren't allowed to live in the suburbs. That was the law. So if they can't live in the suburbs, that means they have to live in these places that you're complaining about now, right? They have to live there, not because they wanted to, because they were forced to. And once you're in, it's hard to get out. So these suburbs, they have high property value. High property value means schools get more funding because school funding comes from taxes from property. Well, if you live in overcrowded apartments, that property is not worth much because it's closer to the dump, it's closer to wastewater, and it's overcrowded apartments. So they got the same tax rate, but their schools get very little funding. There's more police there because there's more police. There's more incarceration because there's more incarceration. There's more arrests.
It's like a constant.
Exactly. But
I don't know the right word for it, but it's a constant cycle, I guess.
It's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. But if you understand how it got that way, then you're not as you're potentially not judgmental without information, right?
Right.
Because it's easy to be judgmental when all you're judging is the end of the. It's like if you've had a bad day, right, and like people been needling you all day, that last person might get it, right? That last person like, and then they go, man, look at that Brittany. Wow,
I'm never guilty of that. I've never done that before.
Yeah. But my point is, the point that I'm making is, if the person doesn't know the rest of the story, right, then sometimes you're not wrong. You're just not right enough. You're not right enough because you don't have the information.
Exactly.
So intent needs to rest on information and ability for intent to be useful. Otherwise, you might be telling the pregnant woman how beautiful she is, and she.
And how many times did you think you were right about something to later on down the road hear something that contradicted what you believed? Or so you always want to like hear the other person's side, because you never know what you might not know, like you're saying.
You never know a person's whole story, which is why, if at all possible, it's best to be as least judgmental as possible. There's some judgment you have to have because you got to get through life, but to judge a person's whole life off of an event, you don't know the rest of that person's story. Even with the things like the hot button issues, racism, right? Like there's people that I talk to, and I have other friends that go, that person's a racist. Why are you still talking to them? And one of the things that I say is, well, the first thing is, if that person's a racist, there's a whole world out there, and they're coming to me, right?
Exactly.
So there's an opportunity there, right? And there's an opportunity that person sees too. I mean, they're not going to say it, but Facebook is a big place, right?
Yeah.
And these people wind up on my page. Right? So there's an opportunity there, and you don't know how somebody got there. If chances are that person's mom thought that way, dad thought that way, community felt that way. How can I expect them to feel like me, who grew up, playing nightclubs in elementary school, right? They're not gonna think like me, but there's an opportunity because this person that thinks like that is coming to me who thinks like this in this world with what is it, 6.5 billion people or whatever it is. This person is there with me, so there's an opportunity there, and you don't know their whole story.
That's
So
true.
to judge people off of the end result, there's a really good chance that one, you're wrong, and two, you're missing an opportunity.
And
Well, I love that too.
I'm sorry.
No, you go, Rem.
No, I was just going to joke that there are many people on your Facebook page before I deactivate Facebook that I have told off on your behalf. I'm like, don't you dare talk to Joseph that way.
Got your back.
I get that sometimes. It's
Yeah.
sometimes it's flattering and problematic. You know what I
It
mean?
is problematic. It is. I think I have extended
But
arguments
though,
further by saying those things.
But here's the thing: even the problem, what we consider the problem,
Mm-hmm.
is part of the journey to where we're getting, right? Because people want culture, especially in the United States. It's a tightly woven knot, right? There's a lot of things that's right, but the things that are wrong are tightly woven, and they've been there for a long time. So there's no real comfortable way to undo them, right? Like especially with culture, right? There's no, for a while, like I heard Bill Maher, and he was complaining about, like how much, like he's watching, I think like the Oscars, and like everything seemed to be about culture, right? Like, can we just watch the movie, And even though I understand that point, to undo 3.5 centuries of state-sponsored racism, I mean, slavery was 246 years, right? 246 years. I'm sorry, 247 years, followed by 246, followed by another 100 years of Jim Crow. That's 246 years. So there's no comfortable way of undoing the mindset of that much racism. Sexism is in there too, right? Black people got the right to vote before women did. You know what I mean? It's the country was like racist as can be. Okay, we'll let them vote, but not women. A woman couldn't own her own credit card until 1972 without a man's signature.
Is that true?
Wow.
Yes. And in all this conversation, in what people call being woke or whatever, which suddenly is being awake is suddenly a bad thing. In that conversation, oftentimes Native Americans never even come up. They got genocided first, right? It's like they genocided them to make room to enslave Black people, right? And the good part of it is we're coming out of it. We're coming out of it. But there's no comfortable way to come out of it. Take some uncomfortable conversations.
Of course.
You'll make some mistakes. If I can think.
Wait, was that an purpose background noise?
I don't know where that came from. trying to sing that anthem. Have it warmed up.
That's impressive.
But in getting where we need to be, it's like going from a child to being an adult. You're not going to get there without puberty, right? Awkward necessity. Your feet are going to be too long for your body for a while. Your legs are going to be too long for your torso. Your knees are going to be hurting because everything is shifting. But you got to go through it before you can get to maturity. And we're in this country, as we're just starting to address a lot of our stuff. Yeah. We're in cultural puberty, right? Awkward necessity.
I like that.
It's not easy to come out of it. And I recognize that even a person not of color who wants to do the right thing it's it's going to be hard to do. They don't want to be the cultural version of me, trying to do the right thing with the woman who wasn't pregnant. Nobody wants to be the cultural version of that, saying the wrong thing, trying to do the right thing. So too often we just don't talk about it, just for safety. Now, Black people are used to dealing with culture because you have to, right? I mean, this culturally here, you have to. The police officer's white, your banker's white, your teacher's white. You know how to, like I've been in a bunch of Ritz Carltons, and the rich white woman gets on the elevator and didn't expect me to be there. So I'll try to have some conversation to put her at ease. But I recognize that a lot of white people aren't used to things not being on their terms, right? This culture thing, or being considered a racist, is new, and it's uncomfortable. I recognize that, but we gotta find a way out of it.
No, and it's good to have talks about it. I'm gonna be honest with you, we're having an honest conversation. I did not ever go to school with a Black person until college.
Mm-hmm.
There were two in my high school, and that's not me, because I'm not saying I had a problem with it. It was just that's how I grew up,
right?
And it didn't. I mean, I wasn't like,
oh shoot.
Well, I love the term cultural puberty. I thought that was great. That really encapsulates it.
And now I spoke about my experience, and then
it's just the truth. But
it's the truth. But it wasn't anything like I was like, oh, this is scary.
It matters how we handle the truth.
Exactly.
Right? So if like what I recognize is no white person wants to be called a racist, right? Nobody wants to be called one. Nobody wants to feel like you think that they're one.
Right.
And to talk about these issues, you have to constantly be aware enough to make sure that the person that you're talking to doesn't feel like at any moment you're going to call them that.
Right.
To have this conversation, we need to have the mutual
the camaraderie, sort of something.
Yeah, the mutual attempt to make each other feel comfortable in the conversation.
Of course.
That it's okay to misstep. It's okay to say what you feel, so long as we know that we respect each other. So I have this particular person on my Facebook page, and you probably
know
who he is. But here's the thing, though. I just talked to him day before yesterday. Some cultural issue, and I was like, rather than us text a million times, just call me. So I called him. The interesting thing is, when we talk to each other, it's never contentious, ever.
Really?
It's never one time been contentious. You've seen it on my Facebook page, right?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
When there's that gulf, you know what I mean? Then we're just lobbing.
Right.
But when you talk in person, there's connection, and when there's connection, there's most of the time there's more respect built in than when you're talking across the gulf. And the other thing that I always notice is that we get on the phone, and then I ask him about his family. He asks me about my family. I ask him how he's doing. He asks me about my career, and we exchange pleasantries. And then we talk about whatever we talk about. And it's not like we get off the phone and I've turned him, he's convinced me and I've convinced him.
Right.
And when we get off the phone, the world has a little bit more respect in it.
I mean, we're all just humans deep down. It's just.
Yes, but it matters too. What winds up happening is we wind up talking to each other about things that we don't agree on. And we think the goal is to make the other person see our point, when the goal is to have some more respect at the end of the conversation than you did at the beginning, whether you learn something or not. And if we do that, it's like when Victor talks about playing music, you can make the wrong notes feel good, right? If you have musicality.
Right.
You can be wrong in conversation. You can be factually incorrect and have the conversation leave the world with a little bit more respect in it.
Absolutely.
that's the goal, is to leave the world with a little bit more respect. And we're always people going to disagree on things. I mean, the cells of your body don't even agree. Your toenail cells don't do anything like your skin cells, eye cells, brain cells, but they're united in a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Differences are just part of it. We're not here to be the same. Nobody wants to hear their favorite song played on 40 trombones. You know what I mean?
That could be interesting.
It could be interesting, but you know what I mean?
But I don't want to hear it.
Song, you're like, oh my, you want some diversity. Music is trying to tell us something. Diversity is good. Diversity.
Yeah, definitely we all need to keep the conversation going for sure. And like you said, be as civil as possible. And I really agree with you. We're coming around there, the cultural puberty. I love that. And
what did you say? Puberty? I need glasses. I'm like, what does it say?
Yeah, Mateo wrote puberty.
Puberty. I like puberty. Cultural puberty is puberty.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I'm sorry.
If we remember that the key is respect, and if we can remember that the same way in music,
excuse me,
no problem. The same way in music, rhythm makes things gives things that are different a path forward. Because that's what rhythm is. Rhythm is the thing that makes you move. Rhythm is the thing that spurs you to action. Proper action, right? Ordered action. Well, cultural rhythm is respect. That's the thing that makes ideologies that are different have a path forward. If there's respect. Rhythm is things that are different respecting each other's space. That's what respect is. And we can just remember that piece when we talk to somebody that doesn't think like us, rather than trying to make them think like us or trying to prove to them how ridiculous they are. If we at least let them know that we respect them, then we have a potential path forward. There's no guarantee, right? But at least there won't be any damage done, right? At least there won't be any damage done. And that's, if we can just get just that piece, then we can move forward without there being damage done, right? Because sometimes the problem is that you're right. Sometimes the problem is the way that you're right.
Yes. I need to say lessons from you, Joe, about that. That's a conversation for another day, but I'm going to definitely ask you for advice on that.
Yeah, it matters. The thing is for us to have, for our intent is always to be respectful, but intent always requires ability, right? So for us to be respectful to somebody, it's imperative that to some level we understand that other person, right? We can't be respectful to somebody if we think they're so ridiculous that we can never entertain their way of thinking. That's not respectful, right? That's not respectful. And that person got to the way that they think some kind of way, right? We don't know their whole story. And I mean, you don't do it to the point that you put yourself in danger, right? Of course, you got to keep yourself safe. But it's good to remind ourselves that we don't know their whole story, and they got there some kind of way. They probably didn't get there going, I'm going to make this world as terrible as I can.
No, definitely not.
Probably not. There's some exceptions to most rules, but even then, respect won't make it worse. Now, I've heard somebody say, "Well, I respect people that respect me," but there's no respectful way to be disrespectful. Right? There's no respectful way to be disrespectful. So if you're waiting, you respect somebody else because they are what you are, right? And the only way you could be disrespectful is if you think you're here and they're there for whatever the reason is, right? Maybe they're there because they voted for, maybe they're there because they believe in, maybe they're,
right.
That's what disrespect is an inequality, right? So if you believe in the equality of people, we respect each other because we're equal, not because we agree on everything.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. We respect each other because we're equal, not because we agree, and not because one of us is wrong and one of us is right. Because being right is in degrees. It's not, you're never, seldom are you as right as you think you are, right? This,
That's a good one. Repeat that so people can write that one down.
I said, seldom are you as right as you think you are. Like, here's a good example. Like if you see something that's red, right? You go, that's red, and everybody agrees that it's red. But upon further investigation, it appears red because it soaks up every other color of the spectrum except red.
Right.
So you delve in deeper, truthfully, everything that it is, everything that it contains, it's everything except red. You see what I mean? And if you step out of the solar system where there's an atmosphere to animate color, everything goes to black. Do you see what I mean? So oftentimes we agree on things, but you're not as right as you think you are. Right? You're situationally right. Right? This is red. That works for this situation. Yep. We all
Right.
gray color. Right? But if we're talking about what it actually is, what it actually contains is every other color except the one that it looks like.
Well, it's also a matter of perspective. It's like how you see that.
Yes. Once you step out of the solar system, color becomes irrelevant because
Right.
there's no atmosphere to animate it.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing. So when you're right for the situation, it does, right and wrong matters, but it also matters that the truth that you have, you keep your hand open for more, because you're not absolutely right. You're situationally right.
Yes.
You're
Exactly.
situationally right. Yep.
Now, I hate to be the guy that ends this party, but I got two things real quick.
Sure.
Number one, I gotta bring this up because it was one of the highlights of my life.
Okay.
But
Oh God.
this was the day I got to meet you, and I'll
That
tell
was
you
one of the highlights of his life. I can attest to that because I was
at
there.
this point of the night. Remy had already tried to kill me like 8 times. I was so wasted by the time that I talked to you at the end of the night, Joe.
Really?
And you were so nice to me about it. And you were like, I knew I was like a little odd, but I was Remy's friend. So you were like, you humored me, you talked to me, you took a picture with me. But that night, you performed, and of course you performed, but it was in between songs, and you did a little, I think it was an Elton John song. I wrote down this.
This is your song.
Your song.
Your song, yeah.
Oh, did you?
I have it on video, and it's one of my favorite moments of the night. And it was just you up there singing and you playing in the keys, and it was just a beautiful moment. But before we let you go, and I never wanted this to end, but Remy told me that you'll kill me. No, but really, she didn't say anything like that. But
what?
She said, "Jimmy, you're talking too much." No, I have one
Don't
other
go
guy.
better than that.
No, I know. I have one other guy who's going to be ending the show for us. He's playing a song out for us, but he's a big fan of you, and I'm going to bring him on. Just ask you a quick question, if that's all right.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
All right, Henry, I'm bringing you on. All right, let's see. Henry's back here hanging.
What's up?
What's
How you
happening?
doing?
Very invisible.
How you doing?
Well, I'm feeling good, man. You have a question?
So, Henry, I wanted to bring you on. I know. Yeah. Did you? What kind of question you got for Joe?
Oh man.
Make it good, Henry.
I didn't have a question, but I'll ask you a question.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I didn't say I did. But you know what, though, I wanted to say is I watched your TED Talk today, and I really enjoyed that how nothing is everything, and really enjoyed the message a lot. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that Donny Hathaway live at Everything is Everything.
Everything is everything. Well, so that whole thing about nothing is everything, that sort of did blow my mind when I came upon the concept of, in a nutshell, uh, the 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 equator is 0% longitude, but it's 100% latitude. It's literally nothing and it's everything. It's 0 and 100% at the same time. And then the polar axis, it's 100% longitude, it's 0% latitude, right? Which blew my mind that something can be nothing yet everything. And that's not me saying it, that's just mathematics. And then where those two planes meet in the center is this point that's nowhere, but it's everywhere. And where it dawned on me is that every number, this 0 that's in the center of every circle, is connected to every point in the circle, and that's what keeps the circle orderly. The fact that everything in the circle of life is connected, and then every number that we have has a 0 before it. We don't write it, but it's there. But it's also not meaningless because that 0 is what gives the number order. Like the number 2, say it's like hydrogen, right? 1 proton, 1 neutron. What gives it a chance to be hydrogen is not the fact that it's an electron and a proton, but it's the fact that 0, something gives it order and lets it interact in a way that gives it the opportunity to be hydrogen. So this 0 that we think of as nothing is literally everything because it's order and it's the opportunity for everything to be everything.
Yeah.
So
All
it's,
right.
you can go down that rabbit hole, and I like to. But the other thing that's in the center of the circle of life is truth, which is why when you're playing your instrument, if you speak from your true voice, you speak to everybody because everybody's connected to that same center in this circle of life. And if you can speak from there, if you can play from there, that's what makes what you do art, and not just the empty ability. Art is the ability to make it connect with everybody.
Right
and
on.
speak from your truth. Truth is where everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the meaning of music. It's the meaning of life. It's the meaning of conversation. It's the meaning of if we can keep our intent rested upon a foundation of ability and information, then we can make our intent be useful and not destructive.
I love it. I love it. Joseph, I swear, I think you're the wisest guest we've had on. So insightful, so much more philosophical and deep than I was expecting. I love that. I wish, man, you're cool, dude. I wish we could talk and hang out.
Let's do it again. Next time my internet will be working right here, and I'll be sitting in front of the keyboard like Henry Invisible, which I love that name, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
Invisible. That is cool as can be.
Thank you very much. Thank
And
you.
Joe's got the impossible interview, so we're good.
Yeah, right. This is the interview that looked like it wasn't going to happen. Hey, do I get a chance to sit in to listen to this final musical thing?
Please.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You'll be hanging backstage and you'll be able to hear it going on. I love it.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, Joseph, thank you so much for coming on. Absolute pleasure. And if you're hanging around,
what's that?
And if you're hanging around, we'll be back at the end. But I know you got your life to live, so don't worry. But thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute
thank
pleasure.
you for having me. Let's do it again.
I would love to. It'd be an honor.
All right.
All right. Love you, Joe.
Love you back.
All the love.
Hey, thanks. Oh shoot! I didn't mean to take you off. Sorry about that.
He meant to take me off.
I jumped the button. Rem, see you later. All right, Joe, I'm sorry. You were finishing up. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I'm done.
Okay, all right. I'll catch you later. Thanks again. See ya. All right, guys. That was Joseph Wooten, the man. We're going to kick it out, finish it up with Henry Invisible. Henry, take it away.
Hey, thank you very much, y'all. It was an amazing conversation. I just want to say thanks again for having me out, Radio Joe Show. This is my third time, I think it is. Yeah. So this is a song I wrote at one of my love streams. And it is a message to God. And it says, we need you now. I'm gonna start it from scratch, by the way. I was just practicing a little bit. Here we go. Now we're gonna throw a little bit of percussion. A little bit. Yeah. I decided to build this one from scratch because, well, it's the end of the show, and I want to say, and now I gotta throw a little guitar in there. Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go, here we go. Yeah, all right. My buddy out there, all right. Now we gotta throw a little drums. I think we're good. Let's go. Here we say now. And I want to throw a little bit of horns and say,
Hey Lord, we need you now. Song gone, it's gone down. Yeah, the world is on your shoulder. Feel like the world sometimes it's out of order. Hello, where the sisters, brothers don't realize we need each other. Hello, where sometimes ain't like it ought to. Feel like the world sometimes it's out of order. Anywhere and where it be, I feel it we need some energy. Yeah. Don't you know? Yeah. It's all around. I know that well. It's on your shoulder. Seems like the well sometimes it's out of order. I pray the well can understand. Every love, every woman, man. Don't you know, my sisters, brothers, ain't no world without the other. Hey, hey, hey. And I feel, and it's real. Ooh. Everybody, you know the deal now. See the spell you can be. Everybody can be free. Yeah. Break it down.
I want to thank you guys for jamming out with me. I'm gonna just play a little bit more.
Yeah, I know it's real, oh, baby. Ooh. And I, everywhere I feel.
We're gonna end it out with the horns here.
Come on. 2, 3, go.
Thank you. Thank you very much, y'all. Thank you very much. My name is Henry Invisible, and I'm a one-man funk band coming at you out of Austin, Texas. I do appreciate you guys sticking around for the end of the show as well. And yeah, so much. There he is. I was looking for you.
Oh my God! Sorry about
What did
that.
I just see? I don't even want to know.
Wait, what's her name?
That is Roxy.
Roxy.
And she is going to be at the show on Friday. We are playing May 28th up in Bangor, PA. We're doing a festival. Roxy's going to be attending. It is going to be, oh, Mateo, that's a little surprise for the show. Wait till you see.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Honestly, Henry, thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you, brother. I
It was
appreciate
awesome. It was
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right, we got everyone backstage. Joe, what are you thinking? You want to come on a sec, or you're hanging backstage? Up to see. I don't know. Oh yeah, okay. All right, we're back.
Man, that was funky, Henry.
Thank you, Joseph. I
That
appreciate it.
was not invisible.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Superstition E flat minor. I like it.
Hey. Tried, right? Got a little bit.
Yeah, man. That was funky. That was funky.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
appreciate you.
Yeah,
What-
always a good time. I was like, how can I like make this show any better? I was like, I gotta team these two up, put them back to back, it'd be perfect. And I thought it worked out well. You guys were great.
Man, he started playing, especially when I heard that sort of backbeat clap, made me want to go grab the talk box.
Hey.
Oh my God! I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that. Is that thing where you blow into that thing?
Oh, yeah.
You put the tube in
Yeah. I made a vocoder, but
Take you down. Yeah.
that's dope. Yeah. Hey, earlier I heard you say, or maybe it was on a podcast I heard that you were the only Wooten born in Columbus. Is that
Yeah.
Columbus? And Bootsy and I got a chance to do. I went and performed for Bootsy at the Winter NAMM 2020.
Well, I know he liked that.
And we jammed and everything. We got a chance. I got a chance to play on his record and stuff. And I was thinking, I wanted to ask you a question that I did forget to ask you is, have you played with Bootsy yet? I mean,
you know what? I am the only Wooten brother that has not met Bootsy. Like my
Okay.
mom met Bootsy. Like
Okay.
everybody met Bootsy.
Really? You didn't meet him at camp?
No, I was doing the Steve Miller thing.
Okay.
The camps normally happen when it's warm, and sometimes I'm out. So I saw Bootsy one time at a NAMM show. I still haven't met him. And we're both not from Ohio. I was born in Ohio, but we weren't there that long. But I'm proud to be from Ohio, the funky state of the union.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love it. Well, I'll tell you what, if this wasn't our best episode, it was definitely right there. I think it was. This was so exciting, really. So, all right, well, we're going to have to do the sequel one of these days.
Yeah.
And,
bring the talk box, Joseph, because we could do this.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, there's lots of funk to be played, man. You can never play it all.
Hey, if that's the case, I'm bringing my Strat, and please, we're getting a party now.
Hey, man.
Who's gonna play bass? Well, me and Nick, we can play bass simultaneously. It'll work out.
Man.
Nick's gonna headbang. It's all good. Nick's out there headbanging for us. No, well, listen, guys. This was just quite a night. I'm speechless. Nick hasn't even said a word the last 2 hours, man. Oh no!
Sounds off. That's why.
Oh shoot! No wonder we can't even hear him. We can't hear me. Oh, Nick, I love
He's
him.
got his
Guys,
cute dog Zeus in the
Sorry,
background.
Nick.
Hi, Zeus.
guys, I love it. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on. Guys, check out Joseph Wooten and the Hands of Soul. He also has his book, It All Matters. He's got his charity, I Matter, You Matter.
And June 4th, I'm playing live at Rudy's Jazz Room, which is the venue named after my brother Rudy, who used to blow two saxes at the same time. But June 4th, I'll be playing there with my band, and it'll be live stream. It'll be live stream on Facebook. So
excellent.
I guess I'm gonna have to reinstate my Facebook for that. I don't know.
Just long enough to hear some music, then you can pop back off. We'll be there 9 to 11 Central, so that's 10 to 12 Eastern.
I'll check it out. Sure.
I'll be there.
I love it, man. Well, guys, thank you so much. And it's Jimmy James from Stereo Joe and Nick the Viking from Stereo Joe and Remy Gale going to be on our new recording coming out in about a month on the new song Pain. Can't wait. So, guys, check it out. And thanks again for watching.
Henry, that was funky, man.
Love you, Joseph.